Sorry, got a weird pop-up. Welcome back to another Sunday swim. It's been a while since we did a live Sunday swim, guys. I know I said that I was going to do that the last couple weeks. You know, after I got back from New York, I was wiped. Need a little break from extra things on my days off. Not that I don't love you guys. Appreciate all the love and support. I think everybody understands. Sometimes you just need a little break from things. So we're going to get into Sunday swim here today, guys. Unfortunately, this time frame doesn't work for my invited special guest that I'm going to have on a live stream very soon. I think what we're going to do is work out a day that is going to work for both of us, and I'll continue to do these Sunday swims. And then maybe if it works out to be a Tuesday or a Thursday, we can have Tank Talk Tuesdays or Tank Talk Thursdays. For any of you other YouTubers that are following along and have been watching my channel, that have subscribed and that I've also reciprocated on, thank you for that. And if you would like to be a part of Tank Talks and live stream with us, let me know. I'm willing, guys. Like, let's build our own little community here. I love the fish community, and I'd love to start giving back a little bit more to that. So if we can accomplish those things, I think we can accomplish a lot together, guys. For those of you that have seen this live stream before or seen my channel before and subscribed, thank you. If you haven't yet, please join us. Lots of big things coming down the road. So let's get into Sunday swim this week. So we did not do a water change on any of the fish tanks this week. There's a reason for that though. One, we're good. Our water parameters are fine. Obviously, I said that most of the reason I do water changes currently is because these guys are still, in their puberty stage as far as African cichlids are concerned, so to speak. Not all of these guys are even close to adulthood. Some are getting there, some are kind of in that middle ground. But we do water changes to remove those hormones from the water so everybody can reach their full potential. Now, this week, we skipped our water change that we normally do on Saturday. So let's talk about why. And then I'm also going to talk about why I normally do a water change on Saturday mornings. So on Friday this week in my county where I live, Arlington, Virginia, just putting it out there, they had a water main break down at the treatment facility for the county. And that put us, it got repaired fairly quickly. It only took a few hours, and once that was done, that put us on a boil water advisory. So, for those that aren't familiar, I'm sure many of you are, boil water advisory, anything you do with your water, shower, drink, cook, what have you, recommended is boil first. Is it absolutely necessary? Not necessarily, it's more of a precautionary warning, but can things happen? Obviously, yes, otherwise it wouldn't get out these warnings. So what does that mean for your fish tank? Well, it could mean nothing. You could risk it, could take a few chances, and maybe it won't affect anything. But I'm not willing to take those types of gambles, so I decided to skip the water changes due to the boil water advisory. So the boil water advisory just ended this afternoon earlier, actually. So now I'm going to wait a couple more days, probably till Tuesday, before I do a water change. Reason for this is because I don't want to take any chance that they're doing any type of extra treatments at the facility that could be altering the water while they're recovering from their boil water advisory, because these are things that are often done, countermeasures that are often taken for our health and safety, and I don't want any extra, things going into my water. I don't want the water to be different than what it normally is, which is also why I generally do my water changes on the same day of the week. So my day is Saturday morning. I've noticed something just from observing just from observing the water when it comes out of my tap here in our apartment building. So, you know, I noticed that earlier on in the week, say like Tuesday, Wednesday, normally it smells a little more chlorinated. Now I've tested it and it's reading the same, but obviously it smells a little different. So that could mean a few things, but got to dig into that a little bit further. Can give you guys some more and better information on that once I have. But for now, you know, this is why it's done the way that it's done here. And obviously it's been successful to date for a year now on this channel, just about, and beyond that before this channel was started. So let's get into and talk about some things that have been going on in my fish tanks this week, guys. Let's start out with the big boy tank here. Let me turn you guys around. All right, so I got them on moonlight right now. A little bit of stress reduction for the fish. I'm sorry about the glare in the background, guys, but everybody in here doing really, really well. Baloo kind of still has his own third of the tank, so to speak. Like I was saying in other videos, these guys, he lets them in there and stuff, but this is his island right now. This is Point Baloo. And there's Mount Baloo, his nice little mountain. You can see the evolution of layers over time. So 1 layer, 2 layer, I guess we'll call that 3, and then this will be 4. And actually it had less curvature to the top of it and it was more rounded. But I was cleaning the glass earlier and I knocked some of it down. He doesn't seem too perturbed by it. Still really fired up, still very beautiful. You know, I don't want to say this because I think there are more dominant fish in this tank. As you can see, our Buko just kind of corrected him a little bit, but still gave way. I'm going to say right now that Baloo is our tank boss as long as this has gone on. Now, do I think this is a good thing? No. Do I think it's particularly a bad thing? No, not either. But I think he's definitely the tank boss right now. Still kind of has his own section of the tank, like I said before. And this has gone on now for about 3 weeks, so I think it's solid to say. Now, what I have noticed, though, in the hierarchy amongst the fish, the rest of it is still kind of unchanged. Kind of got Dolph Lundgren, our big blue dolphin here, in and out of that one position. Same thing with Tangy, our tangerine tiger. And then V, who's actually kind of colored down today a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with him. I'm sure he's just fine. I'm sure he's just sulking a little bit. But, you know, those guys have really been up at the top of the chain for a while, you know, as well as our Star Sapphire, who's getting lots of chips. I mean, he's doing really well. I cannot wait to see when he's covered in chips like that. Already a beautiful fish, but gonna keep getting even more beautiful as we go on. Some of these other guys have been making some moves and being a little more fired up. Obviously, our Tetrastigma getting there, really been pushing kind of hard him lately. Doing really well, everybody. Our Buko has put on some good size. Our black orange dorsal lithobate starting to put on some decent size, made some waves. His blue line, his blue bolt is back. I don't know if you guys saw that short earlier this week. But everybody in this tank doing really, really well. I don't think I'm going to do that rescape that I'd kind of mentioned in previous videos. I think I'm just kind of going to leave it as is. I don't believe this rock's going to move any more than it already has, because you see it's solidly planted here on the egg crate. And Fat Cat's got enough space that he's got room to grow into his little cave that he made by kind of pushing these rocks apart little by little. So we're just kind of going to leave that for now. Doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. Been like that for a few weeks now, so no worries there. So let's talk about the 112 real quick. We'll go over here, look at these guys. Look at, there we go. I got him for you guys on video live with his mask on, white. And of course it fades out a little bit because of the angle that he is at now. But our pullet cichlid really been making some moves lately. There you go. Not quite, you know, he's a little shy to the camera. Once the camera comes on, he kind of turns his mask down a little bit, but it seems to be staying more, because before he would get back more towards that blue color, and now he's still, you know, maintaining that powdery color a little bit more. Everybody in this tank is doing well. We're gonna move some fish soon. I think that I finally decided what I'm going to do with our cube over here. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But one thing that I'll get into, so there are a couple fish in this tank that are probably going to move to the cube when I do get it set back up. Those fish are really probably just going to be these clown loaches here, and we'll probably get a couple more of those when we do set the cube up. So, but everybody looking really well in this tank. If anybody has a keen eye, they might have noticed in the last video or so, I think maybe the last 2 videos, there's one fish that's been in this tank that is currently not there. I would love to show you that fish right now. It's in a quarantine tank in my bedroom. My wife is currently taking a nap in there, so I'm not going to disturb her. But our female strawberry peacock is over in that tank. She's recovering. I think our nighteye and our salmon hap were trying to spawn again, and she kind of got the brunt of all that. So we had to move her out and let her recover a little bit. She's doing well. She's almost ready to go back. I'm going to give her a few more days. And then, you know, maybe somebody got a little confused perhaps, because this is our albino Kyogre flameback. Very similar looking fish, but obviously very different if you look at the mouths and some of the coloration. So, the cube. We're going to refinish the stand. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put hangers and a curtain, just to kind of move this along for now. Going to get a leveling mat to go underneath the tank, which it didn't have before. I think that'll really help, and I really kind of want to do that because we resealed this tank. So let's talk about what I think I'm going to do in the cube real quick. So let me turn this camera around and give you a little shot of the fish, and we'll talk about what I think I want to do with the cube aquarium. So if any of you remember from previous videos, maybe you do, when I had it set up, these guys used to be over there. I had talked about maybe doing the last lake in Africa that I currently don't have fish from. Well, I take that back. I have one frontosa in here, which is a Tanganyikan cichlid, but he's doing fine in here, so we're going to let that be for now. And I think we're going to move out of African cichlids with the cube, and we're going to go into a mixed tank with some South and Central American cichlids and maybe a few oddball guests. So here's kind of what I'm thinking right now for the cube tank, guys. So I want to try and get that other sump I have underneath there if it fits, and then maybe just a polishing canister. If not, it's probably going to be an FX4 maybe a 6. I don't really want that much water flow as much as I have for these guys. Some of what I'm going to do with this stocking list doesn't require as much water flow, but I'm thinking that we're going to do some really nice sugar sand in that tank and some river pebbles, and then we'll do some driftwood with some small boulders, things like that, and maybe a little bit of live vegetation. Just kind of depends on how my stocking list develops. Here's kind of what I'm thinking for the initial stocking list. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like this stocking list. Maybe you guys will have a few suggestions. But first and foremost, I think the biggest reason I'm heading in this direction is because I would like to have another fire eel. It's been years since I've had a fire eel, and I wish I had pictures of ones I had in the past, but when I say years, I'm talking 10 or more years since I've had a fire eel. Obviously, phone cameras were nowhere near as good as they are now back then, so I don't really have any good pictures of my previous fire eel to provide. And albeit I didn't have him for a very long time, maybe just a few months, so he didn't get too big before I had gotten rid of him before. But I would love to have another fire eel again, so I think that is probably one on that stocking list for me. Like I said, some South and Central American cichlids to go with. So I'm thinking a couple of red Tapajo geophagus are going to go in there. Maybe a chili Oscar. I'm also thinking maybe a couple of Waru or black belt Viejas perhaps. Two different fish, not to get confused. Similar looking, but don't get them confused. I'm thinking definitely a blue Carpentis. I'm thinking an electric blue Acara, and then potentially a chocolate cichlid, maybe a starry night cichlid. That's also somebody that can start out over there with the South and Centrals, and if he turns into a mean mother, when I upgrade these guys and they're all full grown, and that fish is getting bigger to full grown, he can go in with these Africans. We'll just see about that. That's a possibility there. Obviously, I already said we'll move the clown loaches over there, get a couple more of those, and I think we'll finally move these silver dollars out. I think these guys are stable enough. I don't need a dither in here currently. Don't have anybody that's in particularly too small compared to the other fish outside of maybe our ivory head lapingo right here, our Copodicromis moloto. But he's doing just fine as is, so I think we'll move the silver dollars over if we do a South American tank. Maybe get 2 or 3 more of those so we have a nice little school of those guys. I think, guys, just for some of the oddballs that I was thinking for that tank, I'm thinking I definitely want to put a black ghost knifefish in there, and I'm thinking maybe some type of pufferfish. Maybe. We'll see. But that's kind of like the initial idea behind this stocking list. So these are some things. There's definitely some must-haves, going to haves on this stocking list, but obviously this is just kind of an initial run-through, and some of those things are going to be subject to change. But I think we're going to work on that project first. I know I said in a previous video, might also be doing a 40 or 60 gallon breeder rack of 2 or 3 tanks. Since I already have the cube, I think I'm going to go ahead and focus on that first. It's been long enough. I resealed it back in November, so at this point we're going to have to water test it again after we re-level the stand, just to be safe. Make sure there's no issues before we start scaping and then start cycling our fish as well. Looks like our red empress up there is trying to get at the roots of the pothos, or maybe there's a snail behind the plant holder, I'm not sure. But that guy definitely responsible for the snail graveyard in here. So let's take one more look at all these fish guys real quick. And again, guys, like I said, while we're at it, this channel is just as much about you guys as it is about the fish, and less about me. So I've given you guys the ideas and these suggestions of what I'm thinking for doing with that cube, but you know, like I thought about it for a long time. I really did. I almost thought about doing Lake Tanganyika in there and moving the frontosa over and maybe getting a couple other variants of frontosa, and then getting, like, you know, several variants of firecrackers, several variants of Tropheus, one being Firecracker Malero, maybe some Morai Tropheus, my favorite Tropheus, which is the Dewazi. I've had Tropheus in the past. I just want to do something different for now. Maybe when I get a 40 or 60 gallon setup and one is not the quarantine or breeder tank, maybe we'll do Tropheus in there, because I think we can get away with that. That's just kind of the direction we're headed, guys, but you let me know. So also, guys, I need you to help pick the next fish for our next fish feature. So if you have any ideas on what you would like to see, if you've seen my suggestions before, I suggested that we go over here to the 112 because we haven't really featured anybody yet, but maybe we go over here to the 112 and feature our Nairai cichlids. We do have a couple different variants there, so, but I'm willing to do just about anything you guys would like to see in regards to that. So guys, thank you for joining us for another Sunday swim. Be on the lookout for the next one. Also, again, if you're a YouTuber as well and you've been following along and you'd like to do a Tank Talk live stream with me, let me know, guys. We can make it happen. I've already got one on board for that. That's going to be our friend over at Small Fish 16. If you haven't seen his channel yet, go check it out. So please, like, I know some of you other guys that follow along, like Gabriel, Danny, you know, you guys, anybody that has a YouTube channel that follows along. If you want to do tank talks and we just kind of commune and talk about our tanks and things that go on and, you know, ways to curtail issues and things like that that can help other YouTubers and other fish keepers out there, I'm all for it, guys. Let's build a community, please. So thank you guys for joining us. If you haven't been here already, don't forget to subscribe. Watch this channel grow. We're almost monetized. We're going to be doing a lot of bigger, better things. Once that happens, I promise that the majority of that money is going to go back into this channel. So thank you guys and have a great Sunday. Matty Fish out.